Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. Today's video is going to be a recap of my weekly fragrance rotation, ending off the month of May and moving into the first 2 days of June here, 2024. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you what my fragrance of today was for Monday. Monday, the weather was a bit up in the air. It started off a little bit cloudy and colder, but moved into a more temperate kind of climate as the clouds parted. Didn't really know what to wear, so I reached for something somewhat in the blue category, or at least the versatile category, but this is anything but a blue fragrance. It has no shower gel appeal, but it does have that versatility and generally a high compliment factor. No compliment on this fragrance today, this day on Monday. I did have one compliment this week on my fragrance today for Friday though. So anyways, Monday was Dior Homme 2020. This is kind of my preferred take on something in the same realm as Terre d'Hermès anymore, just kind of a semi-sweet, powdery, iso-y super bomb. This has a really beautiful woody character to it and some awesome citruses. Wears incredibly well. Sorry, I got a little distracted. The tornado sirens just started going off. It's the first Tuesday of the month here, so hopefully that will not be too distracting for this video. But yeah, Dior Homme 2020, really kind of a cult classic at this point. Got a nice little dent in there. Those of you that have tried it know that it is incredibly mass appealing, and for me personally, I do quite enjoy the overall textural feel to this one. It has a little bit of a vibrant sort of fizzy quality, almost ginger-esque, even though I don't think there's any ginger in here. And again, that powdery, sweet kind of iso-y, super woody character. Really awesome stuff. I was never on the hating bandwagon for this one, although I do love Dior Homme and the original and the Intense and the Parfum. Some of my favorite, if not my favorite, fragrances in the game right now. This one was an instant love for me personally. So that was Dior Homme 2020 for Monday. Tuesday, this was a fragrance that is one of my favorites in my entire collection. It has gotten me a few compliments, and it definitely gets me somewhat of like a deer caught in the headlights reaction. I deliver food for a living at a restaurant, and of all the fragrances in my collection, this one, when I go up to the door to meet and greet the customers and hand off the food, this one has got me the most sort of jaw-dropping reactions. No one on the customer base has complimented me on it, but they do kind of look at me like, you know, what is happening? And other than my wife, this fragrance has gotten me a compliment from the most attractive woman that has ever complimented me. So without further ado, this is my scent today for Tuesday, Fougere Emeraude. This is from Les Indemodables, translates to Emerald Fougere, from the house of the timeless ones. And I think they do a really good job of marketing their brand as timeless. This fragrance and the quality of ingredients in here are exceptional. This is, out of all the brands that I've tried, I think these Les Indemodables are holding on to the most dominant position of high quality ingredients. I know they go through great lengths to source their raw materials. I almost had a fragrance from them called Rose de Jamal, where they source the roses from an actual farmer named Jamal from Morocco. I back ordered it from Scent Split back in March, and it was still back ordered up until a few weeks ago, so I canceled the order sadly. So I think I won't be picking that one up until next spring. But this, as well as Vanille Havane, which isn't my favorite from the brand. I think it's gotten the most hype, but I think there's some others in that genre that are better to pick up instead of Vanille Havane, but this one is really awesome stuff. I do have on my radar from the House of Therapia by Aroma. If you're familiar with them, I've mentioned them on the channel a few times. They have a fragrance that I'm eyeballing called Tuberose Fougere, which this is basically this. It's a really flowery, powdery, lavender, mimosa, and tuberose that just give this an incredibly unique, I want to say, unisex fougere appeal. The florals in here are very realistic, potent, and almost fleshy, like the way that you get off of like a flower petal when you're just kind of caressing it in your fingertips like that. It's just incredible stuff, and huge Ciaz, and like I said, the other than my wife, the most attractive woman that's ever complimented me on my fragrance gave me a compliment on this fragrance right here. So that was my scent of the day for Tuesday. Moving into Wednesday, we have my favorite from the house of Prada. This is Infusion d'Iris Cedre, and this kind of gives me a really nice hotel soap like you get from all the Prada fragrances, really. This, I would say, is like quintessentially Prada. Like, it narrows down and boils down the signature scent profile of all the Prada fragrances into its simplistic, purest form. This also has a very cold tone to it, so when you spray it on, it is a bit refreshing in a way that would complement a very hot day. Although the extreme soapy quality in here, I think, is better suited for the springtime. And it has a pretty unique textural feel to it that almost feels like the foamy quality that you get from a bubble bath, almost like a loofah almost. It's a very porous sort of textural feel, but incredibly refreshing and expansive, I want to say. So that was my favorite Prada fragrance for Wednesday, Prada Infusion d'Iris Cedre. Really kind of a hidden gem. You can find this usually for under $100 on the discounters. Okay, so Thursday, another hidden gem that's really been growing on me. I've come to adore this fragrance so far. I've had it only a few weeks, but I've worn it quite a few times already. Performance is the only detractor from this fragrance. I'm getting around the 5-hour mark with it, but this is Paris-Edimbourg from Chanel. Comes in a 4.2 ounce bottle, and it's full retail for $150 for the 4.2 ounce, so I think that's actually really good rate for a Chanel fragrance, especially a 4.2 ounce. And this is a very kind of cooling cypress base, and then a little bit of lavender, some vanilla, and some citruses are really the main accords that I get out of this fragrance. Very unique fragrance. There's nothing else that I've quite smelled that smells identical to it, although it does give me hints of things like Chanel Pour Monsieur, Eau de Parfum, Caron, Pour Homme de Caron Sport, and Montana's Graphite. So 3 really unique fragrances that are all kind of coming together here, and I think this polishes off those DNAs in a way that is exceptional, I want to say. The Pour Monsieur from Chanel is a little bit too doughy for me at times. This kind of takes care of that with a appropriate lavender dose. The Montana is a little bit too sour and pickle juicy, but the woody qualities in here that remind me of that fragrance are well done, better than that. And then the Pour Homme de Caron Sport gets a little bit too minty at times. I've heard a reviewer compare that fragrance to a York peppermint patty, and this one with the cypress instead of mint mingles a lot better into that more of mentholic sort of appeal. Excellent stuff, and a really beautiful citrus as well. Really kind of a sparkling, fizzy quality. Unique for a green fragrance, a green woody fragrance, and something I think is great for transitioning here from spring into summer. So that is Chanel Paris-Edimbourg. Definitely recommend getting your nose on this one. Okay, Friday is the scent that I did get a compliment on this week. This is the day where I like to wear niche fragrances on Friday, and I decided to reach for Xerjoff's Renaissance. So this was one that I wasn't that big of a fan of last season when I tried it out. I picked it up during the summer because I heard of how refreshing the mint and citrus combo was, but I found the textural appeal in here and the sweet qualities a little bit too doughy for the high heat. However, I think this is a really great one for the springtime, and interestingly enough, I did get a compliment on this, and they said I smelled like a really high quality fabric softener, which I don't particularly pick that up, although they did say that that's one of their favorite smells, and this smelled really good on me. When I put this on, however, I did get a kind of an appeal to a lemon lime lifesaver, if you've maybe the hard candy version of a lemon lime lifesaver. That's kind of what I picked up off of this, the way that the citruses and the sweet qualities in here come together. That being said, it is a really nice long-lasting freshie, and I did enjoy it quite a bit more this season in the spring type weather than the high heat, which I picked it up in last season. So only one I got a compliment on, Xerjoff's Renaissance for Friday. Okay, Saturday was June 1st, so it's technically when I like to start officially transitioning into the summertime, although it was really overcast. The clouds were ripe with moisture, so the overall color scheme of the outdoors where I was at was very green, although a little bit humid and hot still. And I was hanging out around the house, didn't really have any errands to run. It was basically homebound for the day, and this is just one of my favorite fragrances to wear personally, one that I would probably consider a signature if I had a smaller collection. This is Patrick from Fragrances of Ireland. So it's kind of like a spicy Irish Spring soap. You get Irish Spring soap as the main accord here, hence that this is an official fragrance from Ireland. And then there's a carnation that kind of adds a little bit of a spicy appeal in here. Interestingly enough, this is a really excellent fougere, one of my favorites, period, in the genre, and I don't really pick up that much lavender in here. I don't think there's any lavender listed on either Parfumo or Fragrantica in the note listing. And when I was comparing it to some other fougeres, like, I unconsciously was like, yeah, the difference between this and that is a lack of lavender. There could still be some in here, and so far it's just like a really nice, creamy, spicy Irish Spring soap. Really easy to wear, good, moderate longevity. I want to say about 5 hours, a pretty good projection for about the first 2 hours, and also a little bit of a hidden gem. You don't find this one on the discounters. You have to buy it directly from a couple of retailers that have this one listed. It runs right around $45, but a lot of coupons come up for the retailers that have it. That'll bring it down into that sub $40 range. Excellent cheapie, one of my favorites, if not my favorite cheapie for the springtime. That is Patrick Cologne from Fragrances of Ireland. And then finally, Sunday, June 2nd, this is a classic DNA, one that I have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of in summers past. Just rebottled recently for a much higher price hike. This is L'Homme Idiot Plantine Prive. Wore this one in my last week's weekly rotation. It's really nice creamy almond, a bit of neroli, vetiver, and some musks going on in here. Excellent stuff. It's just probably like my go-to dumb reach when I don't know what to wear in the hot weather. The creamy facets play really well into a little bit of a cooler setting, and then the neroli, citruses, and vetiver musk really make it appealing in the high heat. Again, about a moderate longevity on this one, 5 to 6 hours, but just really enjoyable, and something that I will spray on as a bit of a comfort item in the summertime. A lot of time in the winter I'll wear something spicy vanillic to kind of cozy up in the cold when I'm staying home. But this is one with that creamy almond facet that really kind of gives me a bit of comfort when it's too hot and humid to really be decadent with those sweet gourmand facets. So this is definitely one I would recommend checking out. And honestly, if you can find the older version, the cologne that comes in the clear and white bottle with the yellow juice, maybe just go for that one. I slightly prefer that one, being a little bit sweeter and less bitter than this, and the prices are about the same. This one isn't really popping up at discounters, and it runs $135 at full retail, and it's about what you might find the cologne version on eBay or Mercari for the full 100 ml. So if you can, grab that one, but otherwise sample this Plantine Prive, because it is a gem of a DNA for the summertime, spring-summer season. So that was my week in fragrance. Let me know what yours was in the comment section down below. Let me know if you've tried any of these mentioned in this video. And as always, I really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.